Good day, everyone. I am Jisaren Sibacolod, and I am the one to present the level of measurement and the measures of central tendency. But first, I'll be tackling the level of measurement. So here's our learning objectives. So before we delve in our topic, so we will having first a activity. So kindly choose the correct response and be ready to justify your answer in the class. First, we have our quote from Carl Person that statistics is the grammar of science. So we all know that science and mathematics is correlated with each other. And in science, we all know that we need statistics to prove that we have the evidence. And here's the definition of measurement. So it's the process of assigning a numbers or a numerical value to a characteristics of the object that is being measured. So here's the examples. So age measured in years, salary measured in 1,000 pesos, and the favorite color that measured as red, blue, green, and many more. So here's the types of level of measurement. First, nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So I know that we have a prior knowledge about this topic because we are done in applied statistics. So it is just a introduction in our topic. So now, let's delve in our topic. So first is the nominal. So in nominal, always remember that it is a categorical variables and it is not a numeric. And it only possesses the property of identity. For example, in gender, so we have a female and male. So we don't have to rank this to know if who is the highest. We have the specific identity that we belong only in that category. So next is the ordinal. So always remember that ordinal is also like a nominal. It has a categorical values, but in ordinal, it is a order or the variables can be ranked and it possesses the property of identity and order. For example, ranking of students. So we need to rank them for us to be able to know if who is first, second, and third. And next is the interval. So interval, it tells us how differ the certain amount of degree from another unit. So it also possesses the property of ordinal, like the identity, the order, the additivity. But in interval, it do not have the properties of absolute zero. In short, the zero here has a value. So for example, in temperature, 0 degrees Celsius did not mean no temperature. It's just a point on a scale. So the zero has a value here. Lastly is the ratio. So always remember that ratio possesses a meaningful absolute fixed point, and the existence of zero here has no value and also possess all the properties like the identity, order, additivity, and an absolute zero like no point or no value. For example, in weight, so if you have a 0 kilogram weight, it means you don't have weight. Unlike in the interval, if you have a 0 degree Celsius, it does not mean that it has no temperature. It has a value. So here's the summary table of level of measurement. So you can pause the video for better understanding. So now let's delve in on how level of measurement fits with the types of scores. So as you can see in our graph, there is no nominal because we all know that nominal is a categorical variable. So we all know that type of scores composed of numbers. So now let's tackle the first one, which is the row score. So the row score fits with the ratio because in row score, student can get 0 score if they don't study or master the lesson. So it connects with ratio because it has true 0 or the 0 exists. So next is the percentage. It also fits with the ratio because the row score can be converted to percentage. So example, if you get a 0 score, so you can get a 0%. So the 0 still exists. Next is standard score. So it states that a score transformed. So if the score is transformed, it can have a value. So for example, the student get a 20 score. So the equivalent in score or is z equals 1 and z equals 2. While in t score naman is z equals 2 and z equals 3. So the interval between the two, the score and the t-score is the same. So if the students get a 0 score, it means it is average. So not zero ability or no performance, so it has no value. As well as in scaled score, it is an adjusted row score to compare performance. So example, in row score, the students get 42, it might be converted to scaled score of 720. And if the next score of the student is 44, it can converted into 740 in the scaled score. So the interval between the two is 20. And if the student get a 0 scaled score, it means they scored lowest possible score. So it has a value. Lastly, the holistic score. So it fits with the ordinal because it can be based on the performance of the students. Example, a rate of 1 to 5. So you can rank their performance based on how they excel in their performance. Now let's proceed to our next topic, which is the measures of central tendency. So here's the types, which is the mean, median, and mode. So first, the mean. So mean is the average of a group scores, and it's symbolized with letter M, and it is affected by extreme scores. So next is the median. So the median is that it splits a distribution in half, also known as 50th percentile, and abbreviated by the letter of MDN. And the scores that has equal numbers of scores above and below it is how we can get the middle score. Lastly is the mode. So we all know that mode is the number of scores occurs in the data, or the scores that occurs most frequently in the given data. So if it has a 1 score that occurs, it is known as unimodal, and if it is 2, it is bimodal, and if it is 3 or more, it is called as multimodal. So if the score distribution occurs with equal frequency, it is called as rectangular distribution, and it has no mode because it is equal. The normal, positively, and negatively distribution, I will tackle this in the classroom because I'm running out of time. So now let's proceed to how did the measures of central tendency correlate with the level of measurement. So as you can see in the summary table, the level of measurement, the types of central tendency. So first, we have a nominal. First is the nominal. So the measure of central tendency that appropriate for nominal is only mode, because we all know that nominal is consists of categories. So for example, the eye color, the gender. So you can't rank them or average them. So the mode is only valid for this level of measurement. Next is the ordinal. So the appropriate measure of central tendency in the ordinal is the mode and the median, because we can get the middle value in the orders. So it is appropriate for median, and sometimes we can use mode if there are repeating or the same order. And in the interval, the appropriate central tendency is the mean, which is the best measure. If we have many data, so we can get the average, so we can use mean. And sometimes we can use also median and mode depending on the distribution. And interval, it does not have true zero. While in the ratio, the same explanation with the interval but with a true zero. The differences and similarities of level of measurement and measures of central tendency, I will tackle this in the classroom because I have running out of time. And if you want to have a advanced reading, so you can pause the video. And please note that the activity 1, I will gonna ask you the question and be ready to justify your answer. And here's the activity 2, so you can write it in a sketch paper, and another activity is you can write it in a 1/4 sheet of paper. Thank you for having time watching my video. I am Sharon C. Bacolod presenting. Thank you.